Hey YouTube, I know it's been a while, but as you've probably noticed from a lot of my videos, I try to do reviews on things that I myself am looking for on YouTube and just can't find any information on. So over Christmas, I ended up getting the Apple Watch Ultra 3. I've started to get back into running, have had some more time on my hands, needed to set some sort of goal, and so wanted a watch that had buttons and had come from an Apple Watch like 10, so I think really the big upgrades were the buttons. Anyway, for the longest time, I always have had the hook and loop. I think it's called the Sport Loop band. So here's my old watch, and my husband's now rocking it. So this is just the Sport Loop band. Definitely wears. This one was only about a year old, and you can definitely see that like it pulls here from the material, and they get sweaty. They stink sometimes, so occasionally you will want to replace them. This one overall was super comfortable and was the design that I had mostly stuck with for all of my Apple Watches. But I also love the color purple and was looking for a purple watch band. Now I've had some third-party watch bands for some of my other Apple Watches, and they were just okay. And believe it or not, I feel like just the Apple quality or the weight and just how they overall feel and work with the watch is worth paying. So I ended up getting a purple Alpine Sport Loop watch band for this one, and I'd gotten it on sale on Amazon. Kind of see here for less than MSRP. So again, I'm big on like buying things on sale. I don't really want to pay full price. And then that led me, I don't know why, but still like down this rabbit hole of, I like the way this looks, but also this whole hook and loop system here that they have, and I'll pull off the watch to show you, can be what I thought maybe a little bit annoying. And then I also see sometimes on Instagram, so here's the hook and loop aspect, and then you take this piece and you have to slide it through single-handedly one of these holes here. So anyway, went down that rabbit hole of just watch bands and being able to wear them to more of a professional setting. I've recently found myself in the job market, which is why I've had more time and was hoping that or was thinking I might end up back into an office. So rather than always wearing a watch band that looks super sporty, I was like, all right, what other options are there? So I started on on Amazon, where most search originates, and came across, which I hadn't even ever considered, their super expensive mesh titanium loop watch band. So this guy here, and that's the other part too, is a lot of these watch bands, because the Ultra is not as popular, there aren't as many options. So ended up, down the rabbit hole looking specifically for something along this line of this like titanium mesh. So I will say first off, this thing is super light, and I guess titanium is very light, which is nice, but it's like, man, this is a $200 watch band. Also, I got it on sale. So Amazon, for some reason, was doing a discount of 20% on it, and so I pulled the trigger, which, being that I'm in the job market, maybe I shouldn't have done, but Christmas money. So when you loop it here, this is a super neat little attachment, and I'd say it does, and other YouTubers had said it, take some practicing to do this single-handedly. You do have to push both down at the same time, and I find that what's maybe more difficult is actually when I'm putting it on to getting it to sit right while it's on my wrist and putting it back in. But the mechanism is super nice. It clicks in really easy. I haven't had any issues itself putting the watch or the band on and off my watch. Some YouTubers had said because of the way that it was designed and how this doesn't have a lot of give or flexibility, it could be a little hard to attach to your watch band. I don't think that's the case. And worst comes to worst, it's pretty neat where you can just take this little loopy here, flick it open, and when you do that, it can open up the watch band to be so much bigger. Hard to do on the camera, but you can pull it and it gets significantly bigger, like a lot easier. So if you do that and you give yourself enough play, there's no problem getting it onto the actual watch itself. So let's put it on the Apple Watch, and then you can kind of see how it looks. I am not the tallest person. My wrists are very small. So I actually have the small watch band. And yeah, let's just take a look. So just like normal one, other watch is down. The only thing is I wish they would tell you which way it's supposed to go onto your Apple Watch. I don't know, I always guess, and then if I don't like it, I'll just switch it around. But, you know, no issue there. We'll loosen this up just a little bit, give myself a little bit more room, and absolutely, well, now that I say that, let's see. There you go. No problem getting it onto the watch when you make it that little bit bigger. So I'm going to go ahead, I think I did it the wrong way. You slide this just to be adjustable to where you want it to be. I think I did it the wrong way. And then just like a regular watch, you flip it through, wrap it around. Wish I had a top-down camera. You find where it's at on here, and then you click it into place. And at times, I think my wrist swells at night. And when I've been wearing this for sleep tracking, there's definitely a lot more give on like the Alpine Loop versus, or the Sport Loop even, versus this one. So at times I've woken up with my hand falling asleep, and I've had to come in and take the little notch here and try and like make it smaller in the middle, or not make it smaller, make it bigger in the middle of the night. So that's my one thing, is that I think it looks nice, and I do think it looks nicer than, you know, the actual band. And this is, you know, on a small wrist. So I do like the way that it looks. And again, it's super lightweight, but sometimes the adjustability, you know, you have to get it right from the start. And as I said, like if my wrist expands in the middle of the night, it's uncomfortable. So I've now kind of thought about switching it out and doing the Alpine Loop at night, or like in the day when maybe I'm not doing anything or I'm just hanging around the house, and then switching over to the titanium, you know, when I want to be maybe a little bit more fancy. I will say with the titanium, it is nice because bath times, or, you know, I've been doing a lot of painting of my house, things like that, it's going to come, you know, clean up a lot easier and nicer than the Alpine Loop or the Sport Loop, and you don't have to worry about, you know, having anything get messed up. In terms of wear, you know, I can definitely see there's a little bit of scratching on this piece of the, you know, of the band itself, but this is what's touching the computer and everything else, or table. So overall, you know, it's very expensive. I think it looks nice. I think it's probably excellent quality. I wouldn't say it's the most comfortable band I've ever worn. I definitely have really liked this one and have started using it more, especially since I got it, you know, I don't know, 30-40% off. This one being that I did get 20% off makes it a lot better. But yeah, so that is the titanium band from Apple. Now, one more piece that I want to just kind of show you guys, and I had posted a picture of the actual watch band with the Apple Watch on Reddit, and I got annihilated because I had put on one of these clear plastic protectors, and the reason being is my children like to set timers. Sometimes their hands are sticky, and on that one, I think I had scratched glass on one of my earlier Apple Watches, and so wanted to have some sort of protection. And then I guess I'm one of those people that's always just like, I don't know, flinging my arm around, and I swear I bang it on so many different things. And I will also preface this to say that I had a Phoenix 3, a Phoenix 6 or 5, and a Phoenix 6. And, you know, those were titanium, I think, outer and like sapphire glass, and never had any issues with those. So I do see that, like, okay, this is, you know, made from the same materials, but it's also a computer on your wrist. And I put a case on my cell phone. So wanted to have something, knowing that at times maybe I'm not the most careful. So put this on, got reamed. It does not look good, I will agree, with the Apple Watch or with the titanium, we will call it, oh my gosh, strap. And I think it cheapens the look of it. So someone on there had recommended that I get an ESR protector. So this is the ESR protector. I got a 2-pack. And it's literally just a piece of aluminum with a screen protector. And it's kind of nice because it actually goes over the edge of the Apple Watch Ultra. And it was super easy to install. So all this time you've been looking at it, this has actually had, you can kind of see it, but if I can get the camera to focus, but it's just right here along this lip and it blends in very well. So I've been happy with this. My only thing that I don't know if it's actually the covers problem or if it's an Android iOS issue, but I was using my AirPods and running with this watch without my phone. And for some reason, the AirPods just kept disconnecting. So I don't know if it's messing with the signal. I would feel like, or I would hope that something this small or this thin wouldn't, and that there's enough sensors around the outside of the watch that it could get through, especially when it was showing as connected and then it just kept disconnecting. So I don't know if it was the actual problem, but just something to be aware of. And these were relatively inexpensive. So yeah, I would say, this was my first buy, was this plastic one. I wouldn't go with it. It is nice that the whole unit is covered, but I've now bashed this a few times, and I would say that I don't really see, and I shouldn't say actually like a metal on metal. I'm sure it would scratch, but I've been wearing it now for a month and I don't see any marks or anything. So I'm going to put it back on my wrist one more time, kind of show you what it looks like on someone with a smaller wrist. So there you go. Pretty, just nice looking watch and nice looking watch band. So drop any comments below if you have any questions on the Apple Watch Ultra, on the watch bands. And yeah, I hope you have found this helpful. But overall, comfort-wise, really like the Sport Loop one, or not Sport Loop, the Alpine Loop, in terms of ease of just always being able to get it the most comfortable and where you want it. Sport Loop is just a nice go-to. It's the reason why they sell it with it, and which it's the one that mine came with. And then if you do want to just kind of up it and make it look a little bit nicer for day-to-day, date night, whatever, the titanium is a good way to go. But again, remember, it's super expensive. So I would look for it on sale. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well, and we'll see you in the next video.